Hey guys, it's Joe with Modern Survival Sense. Today I'm coming to you with another review. This time is going to be a Rite in the Rain all-weather memo book. Now the purpose of a memo book like this would be to keep notes with you, or as a means of being able to take notes while you're out in the field. Now what's special about these Rite in the Rain notebooks, or memo books in this case, is in the title, Rite in the Rain. This is an all-weather memo book, meaning it can supposedly work in rainy conditions. And as it states down there, a patented, environmentally responsible all-weather writing paper that sheds water and enables you to write anywhere in any weather. Using a pencil or all-weather pen, Rite in the Rain ensures that your notes survive the rigors of the field regardless of the conditions. Alright, so we're going to put that to the test today. I've seen these. I've actually had this in my possession for a little bit. I've been wanting to test it out, but haven't done so yet. Like I said, I've seen these in the past for years now. And I've always wanted to try them out, so here we are today. Now the one that I did get, this is the number 954. I'm not quite sure how much I paid, maybe $5 or $6. I will have a link to that in the description where you can find that on Amazon. The one I got was ruled paper. And if you can make that out, there's a little dotted lines in between, so if you wanted to make a map of the terrain that you're at, you could. A very small map, apparently. On the inside flap, you have measurement conversions, US to metric and metric to US, as you can see. And you have a small, let's see. Oh. It is on the back. You have a small ruler, so if you need to measure something while out in the field, there you go. You have inches there and centimeters on the opposite side, on the spine side. That is pretty neat. Let's get to using this, shall we? What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to take a page out of it. Now I don't want to take a page out of the front, so I'm going to cut one out of the back. And the knife of the day is going to be the Leatherman Freestyle Cx. It only has the pliers and the single knife. It's a locking blade in 154 cm. It's kind of nice. I'm going to cut this one page out of here because I don't want to mess the whole thing up. I just want to test it out, right? Alright. And by doing so, this will also test to see if it's just a coating on the paper or if it's the paper itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use two different writing utensils. And the two that I'm using is some generic ballpoint pen that you would find at some doctor's office. And I'll just write something on here. Isn't that appropriate? I hate these things. Alright, and now my preferred method, I'm actually using a different brand of a similar type. I happen to like these. They're needle points. Real fine, but this type of pen, this is the Pilot Precise V5, and the RT is for retractable. They seem to write in almost any condition, so I'm going to test that out here also. I'm going to write the same thing with both, and then I'm going to test the paper out to see if it can survive. Now the good thing about the needle points here is that you don't have to put a whole lot of pressure for it to write. If I could spell, walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, right? Alright, so top one is generic pen, and bottom one is my pilot. Now I'm going to go ahead and get a container, and let's dunk these. So I noticed on the back of this, it actually tells you what you can write on this with, depending on your situation. And you can see here what to write with for best results. Use wet or dry, all pencils, write in the rain pens, wax markers, crayons, oil, pastels, and paint. When dry, only permanent markers, standard ballpoints. What won't work? Gel pens, most highlighters, fountain pens, watercolors, and acrylic paint. Alright, so that's something to keep in mind when setting up your writing kit for your survival bag or camping gear. Now when you're setting up your writing kit for your survival bag or camping gear, you don't want to go with the intent of getting your paper wet. Ideally, the ideal situation is you're going to want to keep that as dry as you possibly can for the best results. It's nice that it can work in, wet conditions, supposedly, but that's not how we want to use it, correct? So, my suggestion is take your notebook and pen, just like so, and put it into a watertight container. It doesn't have to be anything really ornate or too complicated. Just a, watertight Ziploc bag should be fine. Alright, I've got the test set up. I've got a container of water and the piece of paper from the Rite the Rain memo book. We're going to test the durability of the paper as well as its ability to hold the ink onto the paper. And then once it's completely soaked, we're going to go ahead and test out the pens to see if it will write on there and its ability to hold the ink even after being soaked. Now, granted, one thing to note, the two pens that I use, they're not marketed as waterproof or all-weather pens, and they're obviously not pencils. So it may or may not work. We shall see. Oh, look at that. Something I was curious about. The needle point that I am so fond of that will write in any condition wiped right off immediately. I mean, you can still see it says Modern Survival there, but it did not hold on. The other one, the cheap pen, the one that I despise, it seems to be holding up very well. Look at that. That's pretty telling. Let's see. And the ink on the paper itself doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Well, that's pretty neat. Even if you scratch the other one, it doesn't seem to go anywhere. Huh. Look at that. And that's a cheap ballpoint pen. The needlepoint, for whatever reason, I guess the ink, or the type of ink that it uses, doesn't lend itself very well to this type of notepad. That kind of sucks because that is the type that I like the most. Alright, well, let's move the water out of the way. It is completely soaked still. Now, after this has occurred, I am pretty well aware of exactly what's going to happen here. So let's go ahead and write on there and see if... Look, see, and this is what I was talking about, is this type of pen will write in almost any condition. That's why I've liked it so much, because I've worked in very oily situations before, and this pen still worked. But unfortunately, this paper is soaked, And it doesn't matter because it's not going to stay. And the cheapo pen. Let's find out. And that is crazy. So I may have lost some of it. I probably did lose some of it because the paper was damp, obviously, before writing on it, but that's still very legible. That is pretty weird. Alright, well, I'm going to have to test that out and test some other pens. Maybe get a Fisher Space pen, just because I hate cheap ballpoint pens. Although for the time being, a cheap ballpoint pen seems to be the way to go. Alright guys, well thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Until next time guys, this is Joe. See ya.